Let me be absolutely clear with you right now. We are standing at the edge of something that could either save or destroy women's professional basketball in America. 6 days. That is what we have left. 6 days until the drop-dead date. And instead of clarity, instead of progress, instead of a handshake and a smile for the cameras, we are getting damage control interviews and social media statements that tell us absolutely nothing we did not already know.
I think it just continues to illustrate what the majority feels. We are at a place where we feel like the proposals the leagues have sent haven't been good ones, and we want to continue to fight for what we know we deserve, and we hope that at some point the league decides to have that same sentiment towards us as well through the proposals that they send.
Now, is a strike still on the table for the players?
I mean, when you look at the vote that we took back in December, like, we didn't take that lightly at all. And it was almost a unanimous vote for yes, that, a strike is on the table. And so as a union, we're going to use every tool that we have in our pocket to be able to fight and get what we know we deserve. So it's very much still on the table. And that is something that I think is clear as we continue to have these conversations with our union and the players in the league. I think it just continues to illustrate what the majority feel.
Alysha Clark, vice president of the WNBPA, sat down with Malika Andrews on NBA Today approximately 30 minutes before this recording. She spoke. Words came out, but if you were hoping for a breakthrough, if you were hoping for news that would let you breathe a sigh of relief and mark your calendar for opening night, I need you to lower those expectations right now, because what we got was not an update. What we got was not a path forward. What we got was an attempt to smooth over the chaos that erupted when Breanna Stewart and Kelsey Plum started calling out the union's own communication failures. This is damage control, pure and simple. The leadership is scrambling because the cracks are showing, and the cracks are showing because after 17 months of negotiations, after endless back and forth, after promises and posturing and public statements, these two sides cannot agree on two fundamental issues: revenue sharing and housing. That is it. Two things, and yet here we are, staring down the barrel of a potential work stoppage that could erase everything this league has built over the past 2 years. I want to be transparent with you. I want to be as honest as I possibly can be, because you deserve that. Many of us are here for one reason. We are here because of Caitlin Clark. We came to this league because a generational talent emerged from Iowa and electrified the sport. We came because we saw something special, something that made us believe women's basketball had finally arrived at its moment. And now, instead of talking about free agency, instead of breaking down the young stars coming out of college who could take this league to new heights, instead of celebrating the ESPN commercial that Caitlin Clark just dropped, we are having this conversation. We are talking about a labor dispute that has dragged on for nearly a year and a half with no resolution in sight. Let me walk you through what just happened, because the details matter. Alysha Clark went on national television to address the concerns that have been bubbling up from within the player ranks. This was not a proactive statement of progress. This was reactive. This was the union trying to put out fires after prominent players publicly questioned whether they were even being kept informed about the negotiations. The fact that a vice president of the Players Association had to go on ESPN to reassure people that things are under control tells you everything you need to know about the current state of affairs. Things are not under control. And she was not the only one who felt compelled to speak. Lexi Brown took to social media to defend herself and clarify her position. She stated that the players who chose to get on the calls, who chose to engage with the union, are being updated often. She promoted her podcast episode with Terry from last year, suggesting that anyone who wants to understand the situation should listen to it. She claimed to be extremely well-informed and prepared for any outcome, noting that as a veteran who chose to remain under contract, her anxiety levels are relatively low. That is a very specific statement. That is a veteran player essentially saying, "I'm fine. I did my homework. If you're not informed, that's on you." And while I understand the impulse to project calm, that statement does nothing for the younger players who are watching their careers hang in the balance. It does nothing for the rookies who have no idea whether they will have a league to play in 6 days from now. It does nothing to bridge the divide that is clearly forming between those who feel secure and those who feel abandoned. Because make no mistake, there is a divide. You can see it if you pay attention. You can hear it in the statements, in the social media posts, in the subtle jabs and carefully worded defenses. Carrie Bell, another voice in this conversation, put it bluntly. She said she would not be surprised if there is a shortened season or even no season at all, 6 days until the deadline, and both parties have been doing the same dance for over a year. Either strike or don't, she said, but this little dance is annoying. She is right. It is annoying. It is more than annoying. It is exhausting. It is demoralizing. And for those of us who cover this league, who have invested time and energy into bringing you the stories and the analysis and the excitement of women's basketball, it is frankly insulting. I have been covering this situation video after video, trying to keep you informed, trying to maintain hope that cooler heads would prevail. I took a break from it because the repetition was draining. I came back with optimism, believing that with everything at stake, with the eyes of the world finally on this league, surely they would find a way to get it done. Surely the players and the owners would look at the opportunity in front of them and recognize that this is not the moment to blow it all up. But I am losing that optimism rapidly. Here is the reality we need to confront. The players are asking for 30% of the revenue. They are not going to get it. I am not saying that to be dismissive of their value or their contributions. I am saying it because the math does not support it. The economics of this league as it currently exists do not allow for that kind of payout. And the more time passes without an agreement, the more it becomes clear that the union leadership either does not understand this or does not care. The owners have been subsidizing losses for decades. That is not propaganda. That is financial reality. When you hear about $40 million losses, when you hear about teams operating in the red year after year, those are not numbers pulled from thin air. Those are the actual operating conditions of this league, and you cannot demand a larger slice of a pie that is still being baked with borrowed ingredients. What makes this situation even more frustrating is the timing. This league has never been more visible. The ratings have never been higher. The merchandise is moving. The arenas are filling up. All of that momentum, all of that energy, all of that investment from new fans who showed up because they wanted to see Caitlin Clark play, it is all at risk. The new fans did not sign up for this. They came to see basketball. They came because the product on the court was finally compelling enough to demand their attention. And now they are being told that there might not be a product at all. They are being asked to wait while lawyers and executives argue about percentages and housing stipends. I want to address something that has been floating around in certain corners of the discourse. Some people have tried to inject race into this conversation. Some have suggested that the tension is about demographics or representation or some other cultural fault line. I do not see it. What I see is a generational divide. What I see is veteran players who have been fighting for recognition for years, clashing with younger players who are ready to capitalize on the moment. What I see is old guard versus new blood, and neither side seems willing to give an inch. The younger players, from everything I have heard, want to sign. They want to play. They do not care about the politics or the posturing. They want to get on the court and do what they have trained their entire lives to do. The veterans, on the other hand, seem determined to extract every possible concession before agreeing to anything. And in their determination, they are risking the very platform that makes those concessions possible. You cannot negotiate for a bigger share of relevance if you destroy the relevance in the process. You cannot demand to be treated like a major league while simultaneously threatening to shut down operations at the exact moment when mainstream attention has finally arrived. This is what I keep coming back to. The opportunity cost of a strike or a lockout right now is incalculable. Every day without games is a day when casual fans drift away. Every week without highlights is a week when the algorithm forgets you exist. Every month without competition is a month when sponsors start looking elsewhere. The WNBA cannot afford to go dark, not now, not when the spotlight is finally pointed in their direction. And yet, here we are, 6 days out, no deal, no clear path to a deal, just interviews and social media posts and the same talking points we have been hearing for 17 months. I want to believe that at the 11th hour, someone will blink. I want to believe that the players will look at the reality of their situation, at the paychecks that will not come, at the visibility that will evaporate, at the young careers that will be derailed before they even begin, and they will accept a compromise that keeps the league operational while they continue to negotiate for better terms. I want to believe that the owners will recognize the goodwill they stand to lose, the momentum they stand to squander, and they will offer something meaningful enough to bring the players back to the table. But hope is not a strategy, and right now, neither side seems to have a strategy beyond waiting for the other to cave. The content creator community is feeling this too. Independent voices who have built platforms around this league are watching their engagement drop, their viewership decline, their financial stability erode because there is nothing to cover. We are not backed by ESPN. We do not have corporate sponsors cushioning the blow. We are out here trying to do a job, trying to keep audiences informed and entertained, and the very people who should be our partners in that effort are making it impossible. Every video I make about this negotiation is a video I am not making about the game itself. Every breakdown of a union statement is a breakdown I am not doing on offensive schemes or defensive rotations or rookie development. The labor dispute is consuming the oxygen that should be feeding the fire of enthusiasm. I am tired. The fans are tired, and frankly, the players should be tired too. Tired of the uncertainty, tired of the posturing, tired of watching their moment slip away while lawyers argue about line items in a spreadsheet. 6 days. That is what remains. 6 days to save a season. 6 days to prove that this league is serious about its future. 6 days to demonstrate that when it matters most, women's professional basketball can get out of its own way and deliver the product that millions of new fans are desperate to see. I hope they figure it out. I genuinely do. Because if they do not, if this deadline passes without a resolution, if we are left staring at a canceled or shortened season while the world moves on to other distractions, the people who will suffer most are not the owners with their diversified portfolios, and they are not the union leaders with their media platforms. The people who will suffer are the young players who just wanted a chance, the fans who just wanted to watch, and the league itself, which may never get another opportunity like this again. That is the reality. That is the stakes. And that is where we are. Let me know what you think in the comments. Are you still holding out hope, or have you accepted that this season might be lost? I will keep covering this until there is nothing left to cover, because that is the job. But I need you to understand that I am not going to sugarcoat it anymore. The situation is bad, the clock is ticking, and the people in charge of fixing it do not seem to understand the urgency. Until next time, stay informed, subscribe our channel, stay engaged, and whatever happens, do not let anyone tell you that caring about this league makes you foolish. It makes you a fan, and fans deserve better than this.